Hi, I'm Michael Redden, and today we're going to really talk about the beginning phases and procedures for probate. So, if you've been selected to be the personal representative, then you know you've got a lot of responsibilities, and probate's going to be up to you. And you really just want to take care of the family and make sure that everyone gets what's coming to them and all the bills and things get paid. And so everyone can mourn their loved one, heal, and begin to move on. Well, some things you need to keep in mind is probate is going to involve a court in some fashion. It's going to be between you and your lawyer to decide whether formal or informal probate is best. And I've got another video that kind of talks about the differences and maybe some things you can consider and which one you should maybe choose. With that in mind, there's some other things you really should be thinking about. One is, where are you in relation to where that person lived? You know, we have families now live all across the state, and sometimes they live out of state. Now, in Minnesota at least, the probate has to be open in the county where the person lived. So, you know, if you happen to live in the cities, but your loved one who chose for you to be the personal representative lives out, say, by Wilmer, you're going to have to do the probate out in Wilmer. That doesn't mean you should really shy away from it. The number of hearings and things are going to be smaller than you think, and really, you should, if you were the one that was chosen and you agreed to that, you really should consider doing it. But if you think that you can't make the travel because of your family commitments and things, you really should then reconsider whether or not you should be the personal representative and let someone else in the family kind of take that part over. But that first part of probate is really going to be about getting the will, if there is one, getting everything together, getting the legal names and addresses of all the people from the spouse on down who are going to take something potentially from the will, getting their addresses and things down. You're going to have to do kind of an inventory of all the debts and expenses that the person left owing. You don't have to really get down to the exact penny. It's kind of in this first stage, we're really looking for estimates. So good faith estimates, though. So you're going to get that stuff. You're going to grab every one of the pieces of property and all the accounts, and you're going to find out exactly how much is kind of in there. And it's not just going to be for those assets that are going in probate. If there was a beneficiary or a transfer on death deed or something like that, or if it was a life insurance policy with the beneficiary, the court's not going to decide where those go. But you still have to kind of report that, because those assets still can be responsible for paying some of those expenses, even though probate's not going to decide where they're going to go. So you need to find those things, get a rough value that they have, find out any mortgages, any liens and things they have on them, because that's got to go on the petition. The court's going to want to know if there was a will or not, who can be the personal representative. And at this first stage, we want to really look at, is it solvent? Is there enough money to pay all the debts that must be paid and still pass any more assets on? Insolvent estates are tricky. Sometimes you have to do probate if there's not enough money so you can settle these debts and things so that the surviving spouse or others can still move on and not really have those bills on their back. So with that there, that's kind of what you're looking at first. You want to find out who all needs to find notice of this. You also want to know if your loved one that passed was born in the United States or not. Sometimes they're not. If they weren't born in the United States, then you still have to give notice to their home country by going through the consulate that they've passed and that probate's going to happen. So you gather all this information down and you go and you see your attorney. You decide if it's going to be formal or informal probate, or you decide, you know, you just want to consult and you want to kind of do probate yourself and take that on. You can do that. But then you have to file that petition, fill it out, say where everyone's at, say where they died, have that death certificate, that proof of death, choose the right county, put all of these financial assets and things in there and all the debts that you know about with those estimates so they can have an idea of where it's going to be. And then you're going to file a petition with the court or an application if it's informal probate. The hearing date will be set, or a meeting with the registrar will be set, and then you'll have to go send out some notices. You'll have to have the notices of this part sent out to everyone who's interested like that. And probably should send out to every creditor that you know about. You're going to have to send those out as well as one to the foreign consulate so that everyone has a chance to come and say their piece about the probate, to know where the hearing is, so they can come and say if they agree or don't that you're going to be the personal representative. Or if they object to the will or something like that, they'll have that notice to make that decision. Then the court or the registrar will meet with you, have that hearing, and these things will kind of be decided. We'll make sure that it's kind of proved up that this is what's there, that you've really done that investigation. And then an order will come out that'll give you the power to be the personal representative. And you'll go about the next phase, which is collecting all those assets and things and getting them under your control so that you can administer this estate. And while you're doing that, you're going to go publish in the newspaper that probate's going to happen. You're basically saying, hey, everybody out there, probate's going on. If you have any concerns about it, if you're a creditor who's owed money, please send me these claims so I can look at these and make sure the bills get paid and decide what's real bills. And your real responsibility at this stage is to collect all these things and kind of get ready to see what probate's really going to look like. See if there are any surprises, any unexpected things. You might find more assets and money than you thought about. You might find out that there's a newer will. These things need to be found and looked through to make sure we're probating the right will, that we've gathered all the assets and we know where they're going to go and what bills are going to be gone there. So after you sent out those notices and you've looked at all these, you got them together, now we've really started probate. Now you're ready to start getting down to doing that administrative piece, and that's really the next stage, and we'll cover that in a different video.